Hi and welcome to lesson number 2 on these simple groove concepts. In lesson number 1 we looked at how to use major pentatonic scale over a dominant 7 chord. Well, in this lesson we're going to stick to the same dominant 7 chord, the C7, and we're now going to apply a C minor pentatonic. So we're going to learn a different sound, a different colour. We're going to learn how to play grooves in one position, so I'll show you the fingering pattern for that. Then we're going to move away to the vertical fingering patterns, so I'll explain all of those. And then we're going to get into creating grooves and fills and licks of every degree of the scale. So first, now let's hear the minor pentatonic let's hear it first against the minor 7 chord. Okay, so we have a C minor chord here, and then we have a C minor pentatonic. So you can hear it really works well there. Well, if we lower this third degree, this E flat, or we raise it, to a E, and it becomes a dominant 7 chord, a C dominant 7. So let's play the same scale over that C minor pentatonic. You can hear it's got a much bluesier sound because of this third degree, this E flat. So it introduces this tonality now. It's a little bit darker, it's great for using in fills. It's great just for kind of adding some tension to your line. You can skip in between the major and minor. We're going to look at that a little bit. So first we're going to look at the common position. We're going to learn how to create a groove from that common position. And then we're going to start working on our vertical positions all over the instrument, learning different fills, learning how to play grooves from different degrees of the scale and all that good stuff. Okay, so now I'm going to show you a commonly used fingering pattern for the minor pentatonic. We're demonstrating the C minor pentatonic on the 3rd fret of the A string, 1-4, D string, 1-3, G string, 1-3. Now there's a fingering pattern written out as well in a document, so make sure that you click the link on the screen and go straight to the lesson document and follow along with this lesson. We've got all the fingering patterns, all the positions, all that good stuff in there, and some tracks for you to play along with too. Okay? And remember, when you practice this stuff, use the drone or use the sustained dominant chord as well. Because what we're doing is we're really kind of training our ear, even if it's kind of subconscious and we're not aware of it, but to always play related to something helps you make the most music out of it. Okay, so now let's get straight into the groove. It's pattern number 1. And I'll play this and then I'm going to start just coming up with different ideas, but I'm never going to move from the minor pentatonic and I'm always going to stay in this position. So all of that stuff was in that one position right there. And the way I like to practice is I kind of set myself things to work on and I really strictly stay to it and work on the sound and work on all the inflections like sliding to the notes. Just kind of trying to make some character in the notes. So kind of doing stuff repetitively really kind of opens up doors for other ideas and other creativity as well. But once I'm really comfortable with that, then I start to experiment and just try different ideas, So I went to this. Just experimenting again with different fills. But always just staying in that one position, just kind of owning that area of the neck. But next we're going to kind of move away from that and start to go to some of these vertical patterns. We're going to find ways of using different fills in a higher register, connecting them together. We're also going to look at connecting the minor and the major pentatonic scale together. Okay? Okay, so we're going to now study these vertical minor pentatonic patterns the same way that we did for the major pentatonic patterns. We're going to play along with our drone here. so we can kind of hear some music in there, because whatever you practice is basically how you're going to sound. And a lot of people kind of don't really think about that. As logical as it sounds, it kind of skipped me by for years. I was practicing all of this academic stuff from books and DVDs, but I'd never really be able to kind of create something that was my own, like never find my own voice or even find music in what I was working on. So the way I like to teach and practice is always try to find some stuff that's going to subconsciously flow into your playing organically, and the only way you can do that is to just basically practice the way you want to play. Alright, so let's see what we can find in these vertical fingering patterns. Okay, so here's the one starting on F. So it's 1-3 on the E string, 1-3 A string, 1-3 D string, and then 0-3 on the G string. So there's always some cool stuff in there. Alright, moving on to the next, it's starting from G. So it's E string 1-4, A string 1-4, D string 1-3, and then G string 1-3. You're going to find all those kind of patterns in there. Okay, next we start from the B flat, so that's the 7th fret. So it's 2-4, E string, 2-4 again, A string, 1-4, D string, 1-4, G string. It's just kind of that, just the sound of that E flat just makes me want to kind of get a little bit greasy with it. Okay, now starting from the C. Sorry, that B flat's on the 6th fret. The C now is on the 8th fret. So E string 1-4, then A string 1-3, D string 1-3, G string 1-3. Okay, so mess around with that. Now on the 11th fret, so E string 2-4, A string 1-4, D string 1-4, and then G string 1-3. And then finally, we're going to go from the F, and then the pattern just repeats itself up the octave. So from the F on the 13th fret, so 2-4, A string 2-4, D string 2-4, G string 1-4. Okay, so here's pattern number 2 now. Follow along with the document. But again, what I'm doing is I'm written out a basic groove, I'm shifting positions, I'm also combining the major and the minor, because you start to get into this sound too. Here's the dominant 7 chord. Okay, we've got that major and minor together. Okay, so that groove's going to have both of those elements. Again, work on your strong beat, weak beat concept. I've written all of this stuff in the document. Understand where your weak bars and your strong bars are, and do your fills kind of at the end of a cycle, end of every 4 bars or 8 bars, or even just leave them silent. But those weaker bars is where you kind of create an impact, and sometimes the impact can be to absolutely do nothing. That can be very powerful in itself. But just kind of experiment with that in mind when you're working on this stuff, and have fun with it. Okay, here's groove number 2. Okay, so thanks for watching. In the document there's going to be some information on how to practice this stuff, some ideas, just some stuff that you can keep and think about. Also, there's a fingering pattern for the line that I just played. Really kind of analyze what I did, you know, when I used the major pentatonic, when I used the minor pentatonic, and just, like I said, be musical with these different vertical patterns. I'll see you in lesson number 3. We're going to start to talk about some different approaches, there's some cool stuff in here, and just get you to think about something a little bit different when you're creating these grooves and solos.